Hello, BookTube. This is Aaron from Aaron Read a Book or Aaron Read a Book. I've got a Friday reads. I haven't done one in a couple of weeks because I've been reading a big chunkster, which we'll get onto soon. But because it's been 2 weeks, I have also bought loads of books, as is my habit. So we'll go through the new books that I've bought first. First in is BookTube Event 1, which is the saga of the Volsungs. Because Saga Long's back, which is great because I used to read along with Saga Long before I had a BookTube channel anyway. So now that they've brought it back, and they've chosen a very short saga this time as well, I thought I'd just get this in and read along again and post my thoughts on it. It's quite hard. I always find it quite hard to sort of analyse sagas because they're always just absolutely mad, like people halberding other people into rivers and lots of gore. But yeah, they're very fun. So happy. This is off Vinted as well. I've become addicted to buying books off Vinted because unlike eBay, where you get like all these major booksellers that are just posting the image of the book, not the actual image of the book, but like a cover of the book. On Vinted, it's like real people, so you always get a good picture of the book and you can see the condition. So this is like really good condition, and it's maybe 50p a pound more than eBay generally, but you know what you're getting with Vinted. More Vinted stuff. I saw this on Reed Becker's channel, and I got FOMO, so I've bought both of these. So this is volume 1 of Ursula K. Le Guin's The Real and the Unreal, and these are two, and this is volume 2. These are two short story collections, and one of them's like non-fiction, I think, and the other one is fiction. Yeah, volume 1, Where on Earth. This one is like is real life stuff. So I don't know. I think these are all essays. Whereas volume 2 is sort of what she's better known for. It is her short stories, and the first one is her most famous story, the Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. So I probably will have read quite a few of these before, but it's always worth reading Le Guin, isn't it? But yeah, again, some nice Vinted copies, and they're pretty good condition. I don't think they've ever been read, so hooray for Vinted. Next, I've gone these two off eBay, and therefore I didn't know what they were going to look like. But they're both big chunksters, and the first one is The Little Friend by Donna Tartt, and I kind of fancied a Donna Tartt because I was listening to True Grit read by her, Charles Portis's novel, and I love her voice. And this is the only Donna Tartt book I haven't read. She doesn't write books very often. I think she's only got 3. I've read the other 2, so I think she's overdue one though, because it's been about 13 years or something since what was the last one, The Goldfinch. But yeah, this one seems to always get mixed reviews. I know there's one person on BookTube that I watch that it's their favourite, and then everyone else it's not their favourite, and I can't remember who that person is. I think it might be KD Books. He either loves this or hates this, I can't remember. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of this one if you've read it, because it looks weird. But I've really enjoyed both her other books, so I'm sure I will like it. And it's a big old hard copy. This one also was a kind of sort of prompted by Roz at Scally Dangling around the books. She mentioned this for her People April video, but it was already on my radar anyway because I've been a bit obsessed by the Mitfords this year. And this is the Mitfords' letters between each other. There they are. And this is one of the things where on eBay you don't know what you're getting, because this was written as very good condition, but it was quite dirty. Like I've cleaned it, but it's still a bit dirty. You can still see like stains and stuff on it. So you never really know what you're gonna get with eBay. But this is such a lovely copy. Look at the pictures in the it's not the end papers, is it? Maybe it is the end. Yeah, it is the end papers. And there's loads and loads of pictures. Like you can see how many different picture stops there are in there. So I might start this today, but it's kind of letters, isn't it? So it's one of those ones you don't sit down and read like a novel. It's something I can dip in and out of maybe. And I do love the Mitfords, so that's another good one. And so that's everything I bought. What have I been reading? It is a chunkster. Oh no! Did you see the cover? I was trying to hide it. It's the last Chronicle of Barset by Anthony Trollope. So the last in the Barsetshire Chronicles. Hate this cover, by the way. Looks horrible. Looks like CFAX. I don't know if Americans get CFAX. But it was a weird thing on your TV, and this kind of looks like TV fuzz. But yeah, these are Everyman copies, and I guess they're just cheap, rubbishy ones, but not my nicest copies. I do need to get like some consistent copies of this series, because mine are all completely different sizes and editions. Anyway, what did I think of Anthony Trollope's The Last Chronicle of Barset? This is the 6th and final Chronicle book in the series. We revisit a lot of our old favourite characters, but I'm not going to talk. I'm trying not mention them. I think might be quite hard to do, but mention who comes back, because it is sort of spoilerish knowing if they're in the novel or not. But there are characters from every single one of the different novels, and in a way they all kind of stand alone on their own as novels, but there's so many connections between them that you kind of should read them in order anyway. This last one, I would say, is the least standalone, because so much of what I liked about this book was the people that I already knew. So I think you need some background info on them to really enjoy this novel. The main story is kind of standalone though, and in that it's about I can never remember their job titles. Vicar or parson. I think parson possibly. Josiah Quilly, and he has been accused of stealing £20 note, or a £20 cheque, and he's kind of a strange character. You have met him before, but he's not one of the sort of main characters from any of the previous books. I guess he is quite a big character in one of the other books, but he's the main character in this one, and he's a very stubborn and sort of serious man, and he doesn't remember where he got this £20 cheque from. It's mixed up in his head. He knows he didn't steal it, but he doesn't know where he got it from, and he thought he'd been given it by his friend, who gave him some money, but the friend is abroad and has written and said, no, I gave you 50 pounds in £10 notes, not a £20 check. So he's in sort of been disgraced, and his daughter is in a romance with a much more wealthy family, and that romance is kind of put on hold because of the disgrace of her father. So throughout the book you follow like people trying to prove the innocence of Crawley and his lawyer, who is his cousin, who's one of my favourite characters. His lawyer's called, well, it's not actually his lawyer, but it's his cousin who's trying to get, who is a lawyer, who's trying to get him off without his kind of assistance, because Crawley is like, I don't need a lawyer, I'll put it in people's hands or whatever. Like I say, he's very stubborn, but his cousin is called Mr. Too Good, and he's like a very joyful character in this, who's my favourite new character. There's also a side plot in London, which there is a side plot in London in the previous book as well, and then I think the series after this, the Pallister series, is much more London focused. But the side plot is another Trollope sort of trope in troublesome marriage. It's kind of this flirty woman who's married, and she's flirting with a painter who's painting a portrait, and he's kind of flirting back, but neither of them love each other. They're just sort of messing around. And there's also the person he's painting the portrait of and her mother, and then there's some other characters around as well. It's a very long novel with lots of characters, but yeah, the main sort of trope in London, or bit in London, is about sort of loveless marriage and flirting, and sort of harmless flirting, and how it can become not harmless. And there's more sort of businessy stuff in that, money stuff as well. So you get lots of the usual Trollope sort of themes: money, relationships. There's romances. There's kind of a mystery to this as well, because of the £20. Where did the £20 come from? But the main thing I really like about it is all the characters you get to meet up with again. It's not one of my favourites of the series, and I think mostly because I don't really like Crawley. I think he's just quite hard to be around. He's so stubborn, and I think you just get annoyed with his personality a little bit. But yeah, I'm very sad to have finished the series. I hope the Pallister series is as good, because I've loved sort of spending time with these characters. Yeah, so that's basically, I've finished that last night, so that's all I've been really reading. I have been listening to an audiobook as well, which is what's it called? It's Taylor Jenkins Reid's tennis one. Carrie Soto is back, I think it's called. I'll put a picture up. I'm about halfway through that. I've been going quite slow, but I'm not enjoying it as much as other Taylor Jenkins Reid's books I've read, and I think that's a common feeling with the book. I think it's because Carrie Soto is kind of like a Novak Djokovic character, if you know tennis, and it's also Taylor Jenkins Reid. What I think she's really good at is settings, and like she did one in like the golden age of Hollywood, and her Daisy Jones and the Six is like 1970s rock and roll. This one is like 1980s 1990s tennis, but you basically, the 90s and 80s aspect of it is not really a big feature in the book at all. So you don't get any of that nice sort of nostalgia. And also, no, the Novak Djokovic Carrie Soto character is, I don't like Novak Djokovic. No one does. She's like a very serious and determined character, but not pleasant. Like, that is part of her character in the book on purpose, but still, this is a very one character book compared to like Daisy Jones and the Six, which is about a band. So you're relentlessly following this one Carrie Soto character on a comeback. Also, I find it slightly insulting because her comeback she's 37 years old and she's been out of tennis for like 6 years. I'm 37. I'm in the prime of my life. I'm not coming back. I am like the world's worst tennis player though. I'm like laughably bad at tennis, to the point where my friends, when we were younger, they found another person who was really bad at tennis in like a neighboring village, and they were like, let's make him play Aaron to see the worst game of tennis of all time. That's how bad I am. But yeah. So not enjoying it so far as much as her other books. And her other books I found were like fun, but kind of terrible endings, like not very good at structure and stuff. They're kind of popcorny books. I think she has quite a lot of the same things that Stephen King has. The Stephen King books that I've read, where they're really readable, but then they just all fall apart, and have great concepts. So I don't know. It might pick up, but the audiobook itself is actually very good. The woman reading it is very good, and there's a kind of big background cast of like news readers and things, so that's good, and like pretend McEnroe types. But yeah, let me know if you've read that one, and if you've read the Chronicles of Barsetshire. Yeah, what do you prefer, Chronicles of Barsetshire or Pallister? Forgot what they were called then. Yeah, and if you've read those Le Guin books, or the Mitfords ones and the Donna Tartt. Also, I don't know what I'm going to read now. I quite fancy a science fiction, because I've been distracted from science fiction. I used to read like 50% of what I read used to be like science fiction, and now I haven't read much since I joined BookTube. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on any of those books. Have a good one, BookTube.